So, I've been thinking about new ways to challenge myself as a health practitioner. I work in a medical center, and over the last year, I realized that this is more and more challenging because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Part of treatments in a medical center involves in person communication, and when COVID-19 hits, a lot of things can change. Everything in the workflow that we were accustomed to has actually changed to become more less in person, and as a health practitioner, that can be quite difficult. The notion of being able to work from home is actually less feasible for health practitioners because our job mainly involves doing in-person treatments from a physical location. I've always been interested in tech. I've always sought out the latest and greatest in technology, and I've made an effort to put it as a part of my practice as a health professional. Therefore, it is something that I wanted to enjoy and explore professionally. The great thing about tech is you don't need to have a certain degree to qualify you for that job. Yes, some jobs require that specifically, but a lot of jobs don't. It's more about skill-based qualifications. If you can do the job, you can do the job, and your work speaks for you. This is quite different to the medical field because in the medical field, you actually need a lot of degrees and certifications to actually practice. This is certainly not the case in technology. This meant that following certain tutorials can actually help you achieve a career in tech and establish my project-based portfolio, which can help me land my first gig. So this to me was really huge. Traditionally, the pre-paved pathway to education has been through formal studies in school, followed by a tertiary education in universities, which has helped you land a job, solely because you held a piece of paper that certified for you that you are now eligible to work in this particular field. With globalization and being more connected with different parts of the world and different countries, this certainly is no longer the case. There is growing competition in industries, and degree alone is not sufficient to prove that you are equipped to deal with certain types of work. Instead, your work speaks for you. By having an in-depth experience, having good references in the industry, having good skills that are required for the job, this can collectively showcase to your future employer or contractor that you are suitable for this role, and it will help you set your foot into your desired industry, particularly in tech. This is certainly not the case in medical field, due to the high stakes involved and the general public risk. A day in my life as a physiotherapist involves seeing people from different backgrounds with different health conditions. This is quite different to tech because when you are in a health practitioner setting, you never know what's going to come into the door. This is quite opposite to what can happen in tech because a lot of it is actually pre-controlled and preset. You can always look behind the code and debug and find out what's wrong. In this video, I'll be going through how I transitioned from a health perspective mentality, seeing patients in the clinic, to learning how to code with no prior background knowledge in coding and no formal education in the field. I would like to note that I'm still a beginner, I'm not a professional in this field, and I'm actually learning as I go, and I'll be teaching you what I'm learning, which hopefully will help someone in my position wanting to step into the field with no formal background in tech. Tip number 1 is starting with focusing on what you want to achieve or learn. Essentially, you want to narrow down what type of developer or software engineer you would like to become, whether it is becoming front-end or back-end developer, and then specifying what kind of field you want to get into, for example, artificial intelligence, web development, cloud. Number 2 would be looking up fun small projects that you can do to help you learn and apply what you learned in a practical manner. This involves reverse engineering what it is that you are trying to do, finding ways to baby step it through making small projects. These projects help showcase that you are able to do those certain skills from an employer perspective. An example would be you wanting to learn deep learning and starting with a project on scraping data from Google and then creating an image classification with Sci-Fi 10 datasets, and then proving your work through publishing it on some GitHub repository. Number 3 is positioning yourself among others better than you, whom have done it for a while and can help you troubleshoot if you happen to run into problems as you code, and you will. This could involve anything from either having friends and close relatives that are in the space, joining Discord groups relevant to your field, engaging in Reddit pages related to the field, and using softwares and social platforms that these individuals use to better understand the dynamics of the field. Number 4 is to not stress, not feel overwhelmed, and have the expectation that you'll always be learning, because that is a reality. As a health practitioner, I'm always learning, I'm always chasing the greatest and latest in research to make sure that my decisions are actually accurate and safe. As a future developer or software engineer, you have to understand that this is particularly applies to you as well, because things change very quickly and very often, and you need to be up to date with these things. So don't feel overwhelmed that you have to learn a lot of things, but do expect that you will be always learning something new. And that is something that is appealing for a lot of people and not appealing as much as some. Learning is never ending, and you'll always have to do something different aside from what you learned last week. But what I would advise is that you focus on what you can do in your time that you have to learn and just utilizing it in a smart way. Just like if you've ever ridden a bicycle as a kid, the first one takes so long, and as you get better at it, the rest comes easy and it becomes a bit more second nature. Do expect that you'll need a few languages. Chances are you'll need a few, and based on what you're doing, you'll have to learn a few different languages and platforms and components that you will require to achieve the certain projects that you're after. But do know that you do not need to learn everything about that language. You only need to learn what is particularly needed to serve its purpose. What I've learned so far is HTML and CSS. I've learned Python and I've learned JavaScript. What I'm currently learning is React, and I'm also learning a bit of Bootstrap. In the next video, I'll be talking about how I use certain devices as a health practitioner, and I've developed certain learning systems that helped me achieve that goal. These systems I've learned as a health practitioner, and I'm now applying to coding. Hopefully these systems can come handy to you, and they can help you if you were in my position. Essentially, what I'm trying to show you in this YouTube channel is my perspective as a health practitioner. I'm trying to bring in the skills that I had as a health practitioner and applying it to tech, and showing you how those can work together, and documenting what I'm learning as I learn, which will help you as well. I'll also be showing you what sort of devices and gadgets that I use to help achieve this, and I hope that you actually enjoy them. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you have any suggestions about what you would like to see in the next video, please leave it in the comments down below. If you like the style of this video or like the content of it, please subscribe for more, and I'll see you all in the next one. Thank you for watching.